सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। गिरिधारी जय गिरिधारी, गिरिधारी जय गिरिधारी, सुगंध तुलसी दलवनमाली, सुगंध तुलसी दलवनमाली, गिरिधारी जय गिरिधारी, माधव मुरहर मुनिजन सेवित, माधव मुरहर मुनिजन सेवित, मुरलीधर श्री गिरिधारी, मुरलीधर श्री गिरिधारी, जय जय गोपी मनोहर गिरिधारी, जय जय गोपी मनोहर गिरिधारी, जय जय गिरिधारी जय गिरिधारी, मीरा के प्रभु गिरिधर नागर, मीरा के प्रभु गिरिधर नागर, मुरली मनोहर गिरिधारी, जय जय गोपी मनोहर गिरिधारी, जय 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 गोपी मनोहर गिरिधारी, जय जय गिरिधारी जय गिरिधारी, सुगंध तुलसी दलवनमाली गिरिधारी जय गिरिधारी जय गिरिधारी। सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय विश्वोत्पत्त्यादिहेतवे तापत्रयविनाशाय श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नुमः। यं प्रव्रजन्तमनुपेतमपेतकृत्यं द्वैपायनो विरहकातर आजुहाव पुत्रेति तन्मयतया तरवोऽभिनेदुः। तं सर्वभूतहृदयं मुनिमानतोऽस्मि। पुत्रेति तन्मयतया तरवोऽभिनेदुः. There you have to break. After that, tam sarva bhuta hridayam. That is the way we have to chant. Okay. So, where were we? So the story goes thus. In a brief way, first we'll see the story. The Sanakadi Rishis had gathered in Vishalapuri to have satsang. Then they saw Narada Rishi tensed up, hurrying towards some place. So Sanakadi Rishis asked, "Where are you going?" So he said, "I am coming from various Tirtha Kshetras. Their Kali Yuga is going on. And there I saw one strange thing. What is that strange thing? Bhakti Mata, one lady, one young lady, trying to wake two old people, and so many other ladies were fanning her. So Naraji went and inquired, and he came to know that this lady is Bhakti Mata, and the other two people who were lying down, they were Jnana and Vairagya. Both very old, unconscious, breathing heavily. So then Bhakti Mata asked, "Oh Narada Rishi, please, why this is happening? Mother is young and children are old." So then Narada Rishi, with his insight, he found out. He said, "Oh Mataji, it is because Kali Yuga is going on. You are young because you are because of the contact of Vrindavana you became young. Because in Vrindavana there is still some value for bhakti, but no value for jnana or vairagya. In fact, you are not a person who is born in Dravida Desha, etc. You are in your shadow form. Actually, you stay in Vaikuntha. Lord Himself has created you from His own Satchidananda Swarupa. But oh Mother, I will definitely establish you in the hearts of everyone. This I take my mission of life, to establish devotion in the hearts of all." And then he started trying to revive jnana and vairagya. He tried all his level best. Vedanta was chanted, Gita was chanted. When this was done, they somehow got up, but still again they went back to sleep. Not knowing what to do, Narada Rishi remembered the Lord. At that time what happened? There was an Akashavani which said, "Oh Rishi, don't worry, there is a Satkarma to be done. If you do this Satkarma, everything will be fine." And what that Satkarma is, the sages will tell you. So now Narada Rishi was confused. Who are these sages and what are those satsang and where will I meet these sages? So therefore he started going to Tirtha Kshetra. Asked everyone there. Everyone said that I don't think there is a solution. If Vedanta cannot solve the problem, Gita cannot solve the problem, I don't think there is anything else which can solve the problem. And moreover, Narada Rishi himself is not able to decipher, understand the Akashavani. Then who is there? So finally Narada Rishi was fed up. So he decided to do tapas in Badrikashrama. So thus he was hurrying. That is the time when he met Sanakadi Rishi. Sanakadi Rishi said, "Oh Rishi, the solution is so simple and you already know it." What is the solution? The solution is simple. Jnana yajna is the solution. All problem is because of ignorance. Once jnana comes, everything will be fine. So thus they decide to do jnana yajna through Srimad Bhagavatam. So a specific question was raised. I had already chanted Vedanta and Gita, etc. in their ears, but they did not get up. Bhagavatam is nothing but the essence of this Vedanta. How is this different from them? So then the Rishi said, no, just like the tree is different from mango. The fruit is very tasty, juicy, etc. Though the fruit has the essence of the tree, the taste of the fruit is very different from the taste of the tree. In the same way, yes, you are right, the knowledge is the same, but the way this knowledge is presented in a very attractive form, in the story form, soul-stirring form, that is what makes Bhagavatam special. So thus they all decide to do Srimad Bhagavata Jnana Yajna. Now here we pause and we will just reflect upon what this story's symbolic meaning is. Bhakti, young, Jnana Vairagya, old, etc. You see, all of us, we are going through a journey. All the Jivatmas. We are all going through a journey. What is this journey? This journey is from Asat to Sat, isn't it? Asatoma Sadgamaya, Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. This journey is from darkness to light, from ignorance to knowledge, from imperfection to perfection, from Jiva Bhava to Brahma Bhava. This is our journey. So in this journey, there are so many stages. And necessarily we have to go through these stages. That is how that evolution happens. And the initial stage is, assuming we are all in the human form, all the other stages are also there. And stone stage, plant stage, insect stage, bird stage, animal stage. I am not going into all that. So in the human being stage, the first stage is the stage of atheism. I don't believe in God. Why I don't believe in God? Because I don't see God. In that initial stages, we behave like a pashu. Pashyati iti pashuhu. That what I see, that alone I believe. Seeing is believing. Seeing means through the sense organs. What I see, what I hear, what my senses can perceive, that alone I consider to be true. This is the initial stage of evolutionary process. So you will find that majority of the people in the world, they belong to this category. They don't even think of God. Believing in God is impossible because the senses cannot perceive God. Whenever mobile rings, all of you should not get disturbed. Okay? Right. So therefore, the first stage is the stage of atheism. But then what happens? Suffering is there in the world. And whenever suffering is there, I want to hold on to something. Because then only I get strength, solace, peace. So then somehow this person comes into contact with the religious people. They say, God is there. All your suffering will go if you hold on to God. Though we are not able to see God, but He is there. So then, because of my imperfections in life, sufferings in life, miseries in life, I think that, okay, fine, let me try. And then what do? Because majority of the people, I see them going to church, mosque, temple, etc. So then I give it a try. Because I am miserable. A miserable person, he is ready to do anything to get out of the misery. So he gives a try to this concept called God. Because he has tried everything of the world, nothing is working. Finally, as a last resort, he goes to this. And wonder of wonders, he finds that whenever he offers a prayer, that prayer is answered. Somehow he gets a solution. Mysteriously his problems are solved. And this happens time and again, time and again. So slowly what happens? His faith in God starts becoming stronger and stronger. Bhagavan ensures that whatever he is asked, he is given. Because Bhagavan is also concerned about his welfare. Out of infinite unconditional love, Bhagavan is just waiting for Jivatma to turn towards him. So Bhagavan immediately fulfills his desire. Just like we protect a small spark of fire in the beginning till it catches up, in the same way Bhagavan protects the faith of the beginners. So then what happens? Every time I'm praying and I'm getting the result, the faith in God grows, relationship grows. So this stage is called Sakama Bhakti. Sakama Bhakti means what? I love God because I get something from God. I don't love God because I love God. I love God because that concept, whether that God exists or not, I don't know. But when I pray to God, He fulfills my desires, takes me away from all my sufferings, pains. So this stage is called Sakama Bhakti. So am I loving God? Yes, I am loving God. Is there devotion for God? Yes, there is devotion for God. But have I understood God? No. Am I truly loving God? No. I love God because I get something from God. So what is the condition of Jnana and Vairagya there? Jnana is there, but we have to say it is an inferior Jnana. Jnana is in the unconscious state. God is there, but who that God is, I don't know. At the most I can say that God is different from me. That much I know. It is not me. 100% I know. That is called as inferior knowledge or Dvaita Jnana. Dvaita is there. That God is there, but someone, somewhere, maybe above the cloud, in the heaven, in Vaikuntha, Kailasa, I don't know. But He is there, but He is all powerful and different from me. So this is called as an inferior knowledge or Dvaita Jnana. Dvaita means there, duality is there. This is a necessary stage of progress. But slowly, when I start holding on to God more and more, because in this world there are lot of uncertainties. There are so many things which I love. There are so many beings which I love. There are so many situations which I love. I am attached to these things, beings and situations. And this world is completely an uncertain place. Any time my beloved can be under threat. Any time a thing which I am so much attached to can be snatched away from me. So slowly what happens is my hold upon this God becomes stronger and stronger as I become more and more aware of this uncertain, impermanent world. As I become more and more sensitive about this kind of world, my hold becomes stronger and stronger because this is the only place which is giving me solace, peace, whenever I had turned to this source. And slowly, because I am turning to God, mind becomes purer and purer. And as the mind becomes purer and purer, I start getting a glimpse of the nature of God. Now you will always find this. When I am getting something from someone, I want to maintain a good relationship with that person. Yes or no? There is a person who is constantly giving me so many things, so I don't want to spoil the relationship. Because the moment I spoil the relationship, I don't feel like asking. Now, Bhagavan is also very, very intelligent. As he finds that this fellow is holding on to me more and more, and he has no other support, no other strength, no other solace, he starts putting conditions. If you walk the path of righteousness, then I am with you. See? The more and more you are holding on to God, the more and more Bhagavan starts putting conditions. And what is the only condition of the Lord? You must walk the path of righteousness. You must walk the path of straightforwardness, of purity. You must walk the path of values of life. So as the mind becomes more and more pure, in that pure mind he clearly is able to listen to that voice of God. Whenever he does something wrong, there is an intense pain of guilt. That guilt itself shows that God is not with me. God is not pleased with me. And then slowly what happens is he does everything to please that inner silent voice. Whenever he deviates from that voice, he is miserable, fish out of water. So slowly what happens is this person's life becomes a dharmic life, a disciplined life, a value-based life. The mind becomes more and more pure. And as the mind becomes more and more pure, Bhagavan understands, yes, now this person is fit to go to the next stage of evolution. This person is fit for the next stage of knowledge, the higher knowledge. What was the inferior knowledge? Dvaita Jnanam. And now Bhagavan understands mind has become pure, so he should be exposed to Advaita Jnanam. Non-dual. What is non-dual? Bhagavan is not someone away from me, different from me. He is my own self, the higher self. To know this, mind has to be extremely pure. But this person through his Sakama Bhakti has attained that purity. Bhagavan knows it. How does Bhagavan know? He is the Antaryami, the inner controller, the inner witness. Antasakshi he knows everything about everyone. So once Bhagavan knows that this person is fit, then this particular person is exposed to a guru from whom he is able to gain this knowledge, the higher knowledge. Advaita Jnanam. So since his mind is pure, he is automatically attracted to this knowledge of Vedanta, the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, the knowledge of the scriptures, the knowledge of the Upanishad. He starts feeling a pull towards this knowledge. Now what happens? As your knowledge about the higher becomes more and more clear, you will always find that Jnanam, Bhakti and Vairagya, they are always together. As your understanding about God becomes clearer and clearer, that this God is not somewhere, someone, somebody. No, it is my own higher self. Once you start paying attention to that self in you, as God in you, as the very substratum of the whole world, when your attention starts going towards your own self, you start experiencing the properties of the self. What is the property of the Supreme Self? Sat, Chit, Anand. Sat means absolute existence, independent existence. Chit means pure consciousness. Ananda means bliss. So when your attention goes towards that self, after having done Shravanam, listening to the scriptures, Mananam, reflection of the scriptures, when you do this sadhana, when your attention goes to this self in you, with this understanding that this self is none other than Bhagavan himself, with this knowledge of the Upanishad, when your attention go to the self, what you start experiencing? You start experiencing the properties of the self. You start experiencing Ananda, bliss. Right. And when this experience of bliss takes the form of emotion, that is called as devotion. Right understanding of God, when that right understanding expresses itself as emotion, that emotion is called devotion. So, jnana and bhakti, they are intimately connected. Jnana is right understanding of God. Bhakti is love for God, devotion for God. So as your knowledge becomes superior, your bhakti also start becoming of superior quality. And now what is happening? You are experiencing in yourself infinite bliss. The bliss of the self. Because that is the nature of the self. When you start experiencing that bliss, you are completely contented in that bliss. You are happy, you are peaceful, and in that total contentment, in that absolute contentment, what happens to all the desires for the world? It just disappears. Because every desire is a desire for happiness. Every desire is a desire for peace. Is a desire for security. Whatever I am desiring for peace, happiness, security. And then I find that all these things are already there in me. It is my very nature. It is a very nature of consciousness. So, when I am finding all that what I desire in the self, what happens to all my desires of the world, for the world? Those desires disappear. This is called as Vairagya. Vairagya means dispassion towards the world, disinterest towards the world. From where is this disinterest coming from? Earlier I was interested in the world because that world could give me security. The world could give me happiness, peace. Now I come to know I don't need security, happiness, peace because my nature itself is secure. My nature itself is Sat, existence, which can never become non-existent. Body may become non-existent tomorrow, but the consciousness can never become non-existent. So, whatever I desire when I get it from the self, my desire for the world vanishes. This state is called Vairagya. Disinterest in the world because the uselessness of the world. Where did all start from? Right knowledge. First, right understanding about the self. When there is right understanding about the self, naturally there will be this emotion rising towards the self, the emotion of devotion. And naturally my attitude towards the world will be the attitude of dispassion. Such a person who has gained that absolute bliss right through right understanding of the self, such a person is called a Jivan Mukta, and there our journey ends. Because we have reached our destination. The destination of perfection, the destination of bliss, the destination of Godhood. So this is the journey. So what is the first stage? Atheism. What is the second stage? Sakama Bhakti. And what is the third stage? Nishkama Bhakti. Right. Now, point number 1. When it is said Bhakti is young but sad, Jnana Vairagyas are old. Which is that state now? Sakama Bhakti. In Sakama Bhakti, Bhakti is unhappy. She is sad. Because it is inferior Bhakti. Actually speaking, that is not Bhakti at all. It is only the love of the world directed towards God. I want the world, and because God can give me the world, worldly things being situation, therefore I love God. Actually, I don't love God. That is why this bhakti is inferior bhakti, and majority of the people in this world, 99.999% of the people, they belong to this category only. Sakama bhakti. They go to the temple because they want something from God. And when they get what they wanted, they again go to the temple to thank God. All Tirupati rush is not Nishkama Bhakta's rush. It is all Sakama Bhakti only. In every temple, thousands and thousands of people go not because they love God, they want something from God. This love is called love because of, not love in spite of. It's a conditional love. God gives me something, therefore I love God. Suppose God stops giving me, I will stop loving God. So what is the condition of jnana? It is unconscious. It is old. It is inferior knowledge. What about vairagya? Vairagya also, it is full of raga only. There is no vairagya there. It is my raga towards the world which is taking me towards God. So actually speaking, there is an absence of vairagya. But slowly, slowly, as I evolve in my bhakti, slowly vairagya comes. Because there is a kind of discipline that I follow. Wherever there is discipline, there is vairagya. Bhagavan starts putting conditions. See, only if you walk the righteous path, I will help you. Then what happens? I have to give up things which I like because it is not in tune with righteousness. So then vairagya starts developing. So in the initial stages, bhakti is young but sad. So which bhakti is it? Sakama bhakti. What is the condition of jnana vairagya? Jnana is old. I cannot say jnana is dead. Because at least I say God is there. When I say God is not there, then jnana is dead. But at least since I am saying that yes, God is there, so I have to say jnana is there, but in an unconscious state, in an old age state. So this is that Sakama Bhakti. Clear? So therefore, if I have to establish bhakti in my heart, where should I start from? So that's what Naradji said. Naradji promised, "Hey Bhakti Mata, I will establish you, gehe gehe jane jane. I will establish you in the hearts of all, in all homes I will establish you." Now, if you have to establish bhakti, where should you start from? You have to start from jnana, because first thing what comes is not bhakti, first thing comes is jnana. That is why Akashavani said, "O Rishe, you will have to do satkarma, then only you will be able to succeed in your endeavor." You see that this has to be very clear. I don't care for knowledge, I care only for bhakti. Arey fool, only with knowledge bhakti will come. First step is right knowledge, then only bhakti will come. Bhakti is nothing but an emotion. Emotion must have a right understanding. From right understanding comes emotion. Even in this world also it is true. For example, this is a mother. Just now she has delivered the baby. The doctor shows 5 kids. One among this newborn baby is your child. So what is the condition of her? Will she have lot of love? Nothing. But the moment that doctor says, this one is your child, then what happens? What did the doctor do? He gave jnanam. And what happened as a result of jnanam? It is not bhakti, you can say it is love. Love towards the higher is called bhakti. So then that mother's heart is filled with love for her child. Earlier also she was seeing the child, there was no love. But the moment that doctor said, this is your child, with that knowledge, her heart is filled with love. So what comes first? Of course, always jnanam comes first, knowledge comes first, then only bhakti will come. In the old Hindi films also you will find. In some railway station, mother and the son, they are separated. And because of some reason, some turn of events, they are together. But they don't know they are mother and son. They are together. It's kept suspense till the end. And finally somebody reveals, do you know who he is? He is your son. Oh my God, everybody is in tears then. She is also in tears and all the movie watchers, we are also in tears. So that is old Hindi movie. Okay. So what happened? That person reveals a knowledge. You see, knowledge and love, how they are connected. Love never comes first. It is always knowledge which comes first. The first is right understanding, then comes love. Emotion is an expression of understanding. You don't, after emotion you don't get understanding. That is never happened. Your understanding as it becomes better and better about God, then you start loving God. First know God, then you love God. Is it clear? Now a question may come, if jnanam has to come first and then bhakti has to come, then jnanam should be the mother. Bhakti should be the child. But here it is opposite. What answer can you give? So then we say, what is said here is, first comes sakama bhakti. This sakama bhakti purifies the mind and makes the person fit for that highest knowledge. So since bhakti prepares the mind for that knowledge, we say here, bhakti is the mother. Which bhakti is the mother? Sakama bhakti is the mother. Clear? Yes, but remember always, these three always remain together. Jnana, Bhakti and Vairagya. If your Jnana is inferior, Bhakti also will be inferior, Vairagya also will be inferior. But as your understanding grows, with your study, with your reflection, with your mananam, as your understanding about God grows, as Jnana grows, Bhakti has to grow. Vairagya has to grow. So therefore, all these three remain together. And the highest state of jnana equal to highest state of bhakti. Bhakti means love. I love God because all my desires are fulfilled in God. And that love is of the highest nature. Highest means what? Infinite love. Now, let us discuss from another angle. Whom do we love the most? Yes, the Upanishad says, Atmanastu kamaya sarvam priyam bhavati. I love myself the most in this world. Somebody else I love because that person contributes to my happiness. My own child, I love my child the most. Why? That child is contributing to my happiness. But when that child grows up, becomes a Rakshasa and doesn't listen to me, then, you see, I kick the fellow out sometimes. Why? Because that person is no more contributing to my happiness. So the truth is, I love myself the most. If this is the case, so equation number 1, I love myself the most. So, when will I love God the most? Only when that God becomes myself, my own self. And this is what happens in that higher knowledge, Advaita Jnanam. My own higher nature, which is Satchidananda, God is that. So then what happens to my love for God? It becomes infinite and unconditional. That is the para bhakti. And that's what Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi says. Bheda bhavanat sohamityasau bhavana bhida pavani mata. Abheda bhavana and bheda bhavana. There are two types of meditation. Bheda bhavana means what? Meditating upon God, keeping Him different from me, away from me. That is called as bheda bhavana. So what does Ramana Maharshi says? Bheda bhavanat saha aham iti asau abhidha bhavana pavani mata. It's more purifying. Abheda bhavana meditation is more purifying than bheda bhavana. In fact, as I said, it is in stages. The first is bheda bhavana meditation, and the second is abheda bhavana meditation. First is Bhagavan dasoham. You are different, I am different. I am Jivatma, you are Paramatma. I am Maya Dasa, you are Mayapati. I am Alpatnya, you are Sarvatnya. I am Alpa Shaktiman, you are Sarva Shaktiman. Fine, that's very good. In the beginning, that is what is needed. But slowly, slowly, as the mind becomes purer and purer, you have to go to the higher level of bhakti. And that happens at the higher level of jnana. So jnana, bhakti, vairagya, they always go together. Clear? Clear. Now the next point. Here, Narada Rishi says, "Oh Bhakti, actually you belong to Vaikuntha, only your shadow has come here." Isn't it? So what is Vaikuntha? Vaikuntha is that state of perfect knowledge where Jnana, Bhakti, Vairagya together they stay. That state of perfection is Vaikuntha. But now Narada Rishi says, your shadow only has come here. It is not only true with Bhakti, it is true with all of us. Who are we? We are a mere shadow of who we truly are. This ego is a shadow. What is this ego? Aham vritti is this ego. Ego is nothing but a wrong notion about myself. The wrong notion that I am this body. That is called ego. So what is understanding about myself now? I am this body. What is it? It is only a wrong notion. And any wrong notion has no reality. It is just an imagination of the mind. It is just a shadow. We are all actually Vaikuntha-vasis, imagining that we are Bhuloka-vasis. It is just a figment of imagination. The truth is we are all Vaikuntavasis, meaning we are all Sachidananda. Now this shadow example is very good because what is a shadow? Shadow is something which appears but actually it is not there. An appearance which has no existence in reality is called a shadow. In the same way, the ego in us, the wrong notion is that in us, that I am a man, I am a woman, I am a human being, I did this, I did that, I achieved this, I achieved that. They are all nothing but wrong notion, bundles of wrong notion in the mind. Who are we? Pure consciousness we are. So this ego is a shadow of that Supreme Self. And now another point. When do you have a shadow? When the light is obstructed, shadow is formed, isn't it? In the same way, when the light of knowledge is obstructed, what comes? Darkness of ignorance. So in that darkness of ignorance, an entity comes up. That entity is called ego. See? In the light, shadow is never there. In the same way, in the light of knowledge, ego is never there. You see. Now, another point. If there has to be a shadow, there has to be a real thing, isn't it? Shadow by itself cannot exist. In the same way, if there is the shadow of ego, there has to be a real thing. What is that real thing? Supreme Self is a real thing. So just like that Bhakti Mata, Narada Rishi says. Now see, Bhakti Mata is in complete delusion. I am born in Dravida Desha, grew up in Karnataka, then honored here and there in Maharashtra, and then got beaten up in. It is a wrong notion. And this is our story also. We also say the same thing, isn't it? I am born here, grew up there, beaten up there, got promotion there. Nonsense! Narada Rishi, with his insight, he says, "Oi, you don't belong here. You belong there." Isn't it? In Kannada there is a saying, "Allide nammane, illige summane." That is my real home. Here I have just come to time pass. So this is a story which it is our story. Okay. Did I answer all those symbolic aspects? I hope so. So now let us move forward. Now there is another story going to come. Again a highly soul-stirring story, but a very symbolic story. That later on we'll see. Okay, so where are we now? So now Narada Rishi is fully convinced, yes, we have to do Jnana Yajna. You see how Narada Rishi was corrected by Akashavani. What did Narada Rishi say? I am going to establish devotion in the hearts of all. What did Akashavani say? Oi, keep aside devotion and not first do Jnana Yajna. Because Jnana, Bhakti follows Jnana. That's the meaning Akashavani. You see? And that is why in Bhagavad Gita says, Nahi jnanena sadrisham pavitram iha vidyate. Knowledge is glorified in Bhagavad Gita. This is the reason. Once that right understanding comes, everything follows. Put the horse before the cart. That's the meaning. Many people do this mistake. They are trying to develop bhakti, but without knowledge. Nahi hoga. Okay. So therefore, listening to this Akashvani and the guidance by Sanakadi Rishis, they all decide to conduct Jnana Yajna based on Bhagavatam. Now let us continue. So we are in the 3rd chapter now, those who are following. Jnana Yajnam karishyami Shukashastra kathojvalam Bhakti Jnana Viraganam Sthapanartham Prayatnatah. Oh Sanakadi Rishis, yes, I will definitely do that. Whatever you said, I am going to follow it. Kutra karyo maya yajnah sthalam tadvajyatamiha Mahima Shuka Shastrasya Bhaktavyo Veda Paragaihi. O Rishi, please tell me, where should we conduct this? What is the right place where Jnana Yajna can be conducted? Then the Rishi said, Shrunu Narada Vakshyamaha Vinamraya Vivekine Ganga Dwara Samipetu Tatamananda Namakam. O Rishi, there is a beautiful place on the bank of Ganga, and that place is called Ananda. That place, that bank of Ganga. What is the specialty of that place? O Rishi, why do you want to choose that place? Many times we also discuss where to conduct Jnana Yajna, which is the right place. So, the Rishi said, see, Nana Rishi Ganir Jushtam Deva Siddha Nishevitam Nana Tarulata Kirnam Navakomalavalukum Ramyamekanta Deshastham Hema Padmasu Saurabham Yat Samipastha Jivanam Vairam Chetasinasthitam. This place is beautiful because all these great rishis, they stay nearby. They are the people who are going to come. Nana Rishiganeir Justam. Lot of rishis are staying nearby. Deva Siddha Nivishevitam. So many devatas also, siddhas. So many spiritual aspirants are staying in the nearby place. Therefore this place is good. Also, there is a dense forest there. Nana Taru Latakirna with creepers, etc. A beautiful place. And there is Navakomalavalukum. There is a sandy beach on the banks of this river. So in that beach we can sit. Beautiful place. And Ramyam Ekanta Deshastham is a beautiful place, and there is Ekantata also. It is not in the middle of some city and marketplace. People should be able to concentrate, listen, no distraction. Mobile signal will not come there. Hema Padmasu Saurabham. And the whole place is fragrant because of lotus. Fully blossomed lotus. And the place is so divine. Yat samipastha jivanam vairam chetasinasthitam. Even the beings who are generally inimical to each other, they remain there peaceful, in harmony with each other. Because of the power of these rishis who are meditating, even the animals, they give up all animosity and they live in peace and harmony. Such a place it is. So therefore, that place is the right place. So all of them agreed. And then, Eva muktva kumaraste naradena samam tatah ganga tatam samajagmuhu kathapanaya satvaraha. And then all of them proceeded towards that place for conducting this Bhagavata Saptaham. And then this news spread everywhere. What news? That there is a Bhagavata Saptaham going to happen on that sandy beach of Ganga. And what is the place name? Ananda. And then what happened? Yada yatastatam tetu tada kolahalopya bhoot Bhurloke devaloke cha brahmaloke tathaiva cha. There was a big commotion where not only Bhuloka but Devaloka and Brahmaloka also. This news spread that there is a Saptaham going to happen and Sakshat these Sanakadi Rishis are going to do it. Oh my God. Shri Bhagavata Piyusha Panaya Rasalampataha Dhavantopyayayu Sarve Prathamam Yecha Vaishnava. People came running to book their seats because they wanted to drink this Amritam from their own ears. Rasa Lampataha, addicted to this rasa. Such people, complete addicts. They came running from all over the place, from different worlds. Who all came? You see the way Vyasa Rishi is describing all this. Amazing. Bhrigur Vasishta Chavanascha Gautamo Medhatithir Devala Devarato Ramastatha Gadhisutascha Shakalo Mrukandu Putra Trijapippaladaha Yogeshwaro Vyasa Parasharau cha Chaya Shukoja Jalijannu Mukhyaha Sarvepyami Munigana Saha Putra Shishyaha Swastri Bhiraya Yurate Pranayena Yuktaha. Who all came? A big list is given. Bhrigu Rishi, Vasishta, Chavana, Gautama, Medhatithi, Devala, Devarata, Parashurama, Vishwamitra, Shakala, Markandeya, Dattatreya, Pippalada, Vyasa himself, his father Parashara, Chayashuka, Jajali, and Jannu. All of them gathered there, not alone, along with their putra, children, along with their shishyas, and along with their stri, their wives. A whole family. Not only they came, Veda, Vedanta, Mantra, Tantra, all 17 Puranas, Shad Darshanas, they all came. The presiding deity of all these entities, they also came, taking a form, a human form to listen. Not only they, rivers, the presiding deity of all rivers, lakes, the auspicious place like Kurukshetra, directions, forests, mountains, devatas, gandharvas, danavas, sannyasis, brahmacharis, rishiganas, all of them gathered there. And there were some people who out of their bloated pride did not come. What happened to them? Gurutvat tatra nayatan bhruguhu sambodhya chanayat. Bhrigu Rishi went to their house, convinced them, persuaded them and brought them. Okay, so if there is somebody there at home, this is what you have to do. See what Bhrigu Rishi has done. Hey, something nice is happening. Come, listen. Some words will fall into their ears. That itself is highly purifying. That's what Bhagavatam says. Even if you just listen, that purifies the mind. So Bhrigu Rishi said, doesn't matter, you come, please come. And he forced all of these people. Personally went. Remember, what is Gurutva? They felt that, oh, I know everything. I don't want all this. These kinds of people, they brought them. Dikshita naradenath dattamasanamuttamam kumara vandita sarve nishedu krishna tatparah. And then a big asana was given to all these Sanakadi Rishis, so that, others can very clearly see a high asana. Very nice seat was given. And then all of them bowed down to them. And then what happened? Oh, Jaya Shabdo, Namah Shabdaha, Shankha Shabdastataivacha, Churna Laja Prasunanam, Nikshepa Sumahanabhut. There was Jaya Shabda, Jai Jaikar. There was Namah Shabda. Then there was Shankha Shabda, blowing of the conch. And then it is said, fragrant powder was sprinkled, sprayed, of sandalwood. What is written here is, elaki, ilaichi, and the lavang. They are the fragrant powders. So that was sprayed. And then flowers, of course. And these devatas, what did they do? Vimanani samaruhya kiyanto devanayakaha kalpavriksha prasunestan sarvans tatra samakiran. Devatas, they came in their vimanas, in their vehicle, and then showered flowers. What flowers? Of kalpavriksha. Wish-fulfilling tree. Those flowers were showered. Okay. Now, the Sanakadi Rishis, after all that, the Sanakadi Rishis, after all this Kolahala settled down, the Sanakadi Rishis started narrating a story, glorifying Bhagavatam. Now this story is very famous. Later on we will see the symbolic meaning also. Atra te kirtayishyamah itihasam puratanam yasya shravana matrena papahanif prajayate. So before telling the story, actually, Sanakadi Rishis glorifies Bhagavatam. Some few verses I will see. Few verses. So chapter 3, 24 onwards, there are so many verses glorifying what happens to a person who listens to Bhagavatam. Some few samples I will mention here. Athate varnyate smabhihi महिमा शुक शास्त्रजः यस्य श्रवणमात्रेण मुक्तिः करतले स्थिता. This is a scripture where if you listen with faith and pure heart and devotion, muktihi karatale sthita. Mukti will be like the fruit on your own palm. How clearly you get it, that way you will get mukti also. Sada sevya Srimad Bhagavati Katha Yasya Shravana Matrena Harischittam Samashrayet. Merely by listening, you start experiencing the presence of God in your heart. Such is the greatness of Bhagavati Katha. Just by listening. Srimad Bhagavatam is mainly for listening. Shravanam is given very much importance here. Then, Katha Bhagavatasyapi Nityam Bhavati Yadgrihe Tadgriham Tirtharupam Hi Vasatam Papanashanam. That house where this Bhagavata Shastram is chanted, recited, that house has to be considered as Tirtha Rupam only. And it destroys all papas, sins, inauspiciousness. Na Ganga na Gaya Kashi Pushkaram na Prayagakam Shuka Shastra Kathayascha Phalena Samatam Nayet. You may go to so many Tirtha Kshetras, but nothing to match the Parayanam of Srimad Bhagavatam. Then Slokardham Slokapadam va Nityam Bhagavatodbhavam Pathasva Samukhe Naiva Yadichasi Param Gatim. If you want that higher state, how much of a time you have? Sloka Ardham. Even if you chant half a sloka, or forget about that, sloka Padam, even 1/4 of a sloka if you chant, the result is amazing. So do that. Nityam you must do. Yascha Bhagavatam Shastram Vachayedarthato Nisham Janma Koti Kritam Papam Nashyate Natra Samshayah. The one who chants this Bhagavata Shastram and listens to it, Janma Koti Kritam Papam Nashyate. Papa's sins done in crores of birth, it is destroyed. Antakale tu yenaiva Shruyate Shuka Shastravak Pritya Tasyeva Vaikuntham Govindopi Prayachati. Yes, Bhagwan gives that state of Vaikuntha to the person who, in those last moments, he listens to Bhagavata Shastram at the time of death. And what happens to those who don't listen? That also is there. Ajanma matramapi yena shathena kinchit chittam vidhaya shuka shastra kathana pita chandala vachchakaravad batatena nitam mithya swajanma janani jani dukkha bhaja. Those people who have never listened to this Bhagavad Shastram at all because of their bloated pride, exaggerated pride. Such a person, he has lived a life of a chandala, a low-caste person who eats dog, the uncultured person, chandala, or the life of a donkey. Well, throughout your life, you are carrying the burden of, household and this and that. He is nothing but a donkey only. He has lived a life of a donkey. Mithya swajanma. That life has gone as a waste, and the only contribution he has given to the world is, he has given his mother the labor pain. That is his contribution. You will find so many such funny statements and, very humorous statements. Vedavyasa Rishi was a very humorous person. Jivacho nigatita satu papa karma yena shrutam shuka katha vachanam na kinchit dhiktam naram pashu samam bhuvi bhara rupam evam vadanti divi deva samaja mukhyaha. Jivat Chavaha. Jivat, while living, he is nothing but a Shava. Shava means what? Corpse. He is a living corpse who doesn't pay attention to all these scriptures. A sinner. Dhiktam naram pashusamam. He is nothing but an animal only, a two-legged animal. Bhuvi bhara rupam. He is just a burden for this earth. Thus say the wise sages. So it is not only about Bhagavatam, it is generally about scriptures. A person who is not living a spiritual life, this is the way all the scriptures have described. The point is this: we have come here for a purpose. Any person who lives in this world without striving for that purpose, that person has lived in vain. This is to shake us up. Many times such hammers, we are beaten with such hammers only to make us serious about life. There is a purpose in life. Don't forget. You live your life ensuring that you are going towards that goal. The goal of liberation, the goal of Paramatma Prapti. That is why all such hammering statements are there. Okay. Now let us come to the story. Okay. Atra te kirtayishyamah itihasam puratanam yasya shravana papahanif prajayate. Adhyaya 4, verse number 15. Chapter 4, 15th verse. So now, in glorification of this Bhagavatam, there is a very famous story. It is itihasa, means it has happened. So what is that story? Now comes a story, a beautiful story, full of spiritual message. Tungabhadra tate purvam abhutpattanamuttamam yatra varna swadharmena satya satkarma tatparah. On the banks of Tungabhadra river, there used to be a beautiful city. And the people living there, they were all very religious people, doing their swadharma, based on their varnashrama, doing satkarma. So there was a city near the banks of Tungabhadra river. Oh yes. Atmadevav pure tasmin sarva veda visharadaha srotasmarteshu nishnataha dvitiya iva bhaskaraha. In that city there lived a Brahmana. And what is his name? Atmadeva. Sarva Veda Visharadaha. He had studied all Vedas. Highly learned person, scholarly person. Srauta Smarteshu Nishnataha. An expert in all rituals. Vedic ritual, he was an expert. Dvitiya iva Bhaskaraha. He was a second son, son. Bhikshuko vittaman loke tatpriya dhunduli smrita. So though he was a Brahmana, he was very rich. And because he was expert in all these rituals, etc., people used to give a lot of dana, dakshina, etc. But he lived on alms, meaning he never demanded money from anyone. Whatever came, but people used to give him, so therefore he was very rich. And he had a wife. What is the name of wife? Dhunduli. We think, what kind of name is this? Dhunduli. What is her nature? Swavakya sthapika. Whatever I say, that must happen. And whatever I say, that is true. No questioning. Swavakya sthapika. Sundari. Very beautiful. Sukulodbhava. Born in a very good family. Lokavarta rata. What is happening in different houses, she wants to know. And she will know. In that city, in whose house what is happening, she will know. She knows everything. Lokavarta rata. Kruraha. She was little. Krura means what? Cruel. Yes. Prayashaha bahujalpika. Very, very talkative. Shuracha grihakrutyeshu. As far as household things are concerned, very, very efficient in doing everything. Spick and span. Shuracha grihakrutyeshu Krupana, but very miserly. Kalaha Priya, loves fighting with others, quarreling with others. So what is her name? Dhunduli. What is Dhunduli's husband's name? Atmadev. Okay, then what happened? Evam nivasatoh premna dampatyoramamanayoh arthah kamansayorasanna sukhaya grihadikam. And both of them, husband and wife, they lived a very happy life. See, when one is silent and other is talkative, there is no problem. So therefore, there is a very good harmony between them. They lived a happy life. And they had everything, artha, kama, lot of money was there, comforts, luxury, everything was there. But even then, though they had good house, big house, na sukhaya, they were not happy. Why they were not happy? They were not happy because they did not have an issue, a child. And then what happened? Paschad dharma samarabdhaha tabhyam santana hetave go bhuhiranyavasamsi dinebhyo yachhatas sada. As the years were passing, they were also getting old. So they were really worried. If at a young age we don't have child, then when we are going to have? So therefore, they started, for the sake of child, they started doing lot of dana dharma, charity. What all did they give? Go, they gave land. Bhu, go means cow. Bhu means land. Hiranya, gold. Vasamsi, dress, good clothes. Dinebhya, to poor people, they gave. So that because of that punya, a child will be born to them. In that way, dhanardham dharma margena tabhyam nitam tathapicha na putro na piva putri tataschintaturo bhrisham. Almost half of their wealth they gave in charity, but nothing happened. Na putra, na putri. Tataha chintaturo bhrisham. This Atmadev became miserable. Nothing was happening. It was very sad. Very, very sad. And then what did he do? Ekada svadijo dukkhat gruham tyaktva vanam gatah madhyane trishito jatah tadagam samupevan. One day he was so depressed. He thought, let me end my life. What is the purpose of living like this? And then he just left his home. And then he went into a deep forest. By the time he reached that forest, it was Madhyana, afternoon. He was very tired, thirsty also. And there was a lake there, pond or lake, whatever. And then he went there. What did he do? Pitva jalam nishannastu prajadukhena karshitah muhurtadapi tatraiva sannyasi kaschidagatah. He drank some water and was sitting there. And then, after some time, a sannyasi came there. A sannyasi, a monk. Drishtva pita jalam tam tu vipro yatastadantikam natva chapadayostasya nishwasan samstitah purah. So when he saw this sannyasi, after the sannyasi had, he also came to drink some water. He drank water. And after he drank water, this person came, Atmadev. He just came, he prostrated unto that sannyasi and then started deep breathing, not pranayama, but sighing. When there is too much of sorrow, you take deep breaths. And he started sighing and he broke down, started crying. uncontrollably crying. So then this sannyasi looked at him and he asked, Katham rodishi vipratvam kate chinta baliyasi vadatvam sattvaram mahyam swasya dukkhasya karanam. Hey Brahmana, why are you crying? What happened? Why are you miserable? Tell me what can I do for you? Then this Brahmana said, Oh, sannyasi varya, kim bravimi rishe dukkham purva papena sanchitam. I think I have done lot of papas in my past, and because of which all the papa karma phala is coming to me. Maddattam naiva grannhanti pritya deva dujadayah praja dukkhena shunyoham pranan styaktumihagata agataha. Whatever I offer unto gods, they don't receive it, because such a sinner I am. Therefore all the dana dharma I am doing, nothing is giving any result. Oh Swamiji, praja dukkhena shunyaha aham. I don't have an issue, and that is really eating me from within. Therefore, I have come here to put an end to my life. Dhig jivitam prajahinam dhigraham cha prajam vina dhigdhanam chanapatyasya dhikulam santatim vina. Dhig jividam prajahinam. That life is cursed. That life of a person is cursed who doesn't have an issue. Dhigraham cha prajam vina. That house is cursed where there is no child. Dhigdhanam chanapatyasya. That wealth is also cursed. In a house where there is no issue. Dhikulam santatim vina. That lineage, that kula is also cursed. Palyate yamaya dhenuhu savandhya sarvatha bhavet yo maya ropito vrikshah sopi vandhyatvam ashrayet. So unfortunate, such a big sinner I am, that when I bring a cow to my home in order to raise it, that cow becomes barren. Yo maya ropito vrikshah. When I plant a tree, that tree becomes barren. It doesn't give any fruit. Such a great sinner I am. Yat phalam madgruhayatam taccha shigram vinashyati nirbhagyasyanapattasya kimato jivitena vaya. What is the purpose of living in this world? The fruit which I bring to my home, that fruit within few moments it starts decaying. So therefore I think that I am a very inauspicious being. And that is why all these inauspicious things are happening. Remember this person, earlier it was said what? Scholar. He had studied all Vedas, and look at the way he is talking. What does it mean? Mere scholarly knowledge is of no use. This is the meaning. He is in extreme depression. If he were to be in America, we would have given him some medication. But unfortunately, that was not available at that time. So then, he is planning to commit suicide now. Okay? Ityuktva sasurodochaihi tatparsham dukkha piditaha tada tasya yates chitte karuna bhudgariyasi. Saying so, he started loudly crying. And looking at his condition, this sannyasi, he felt, compassionate. Tad bhalaksharamalam cha vachayamasa yogavan sarvam jnatva yatev paschat vipramuche savistaram. So this sannyasi had that ability to read the face. So this person is crying because there is no tissue. So he read the lines on his forehead and then he spoke. What did he say? We will see tomorrow. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayah Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhag Bhavet Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityor Ma Amritam Gamaya Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om.